So the Olympics are here. No, not those Olympics. The Gran Turismo 7 Esports Olympics is finally here, and we are about to try out to see if we can become an official Olympian. Now, the Gran Turismo 7 Olympics is an esports event that's going to be taking place in Singapore, and the event is going to host the fastest top 10 drivers in the world, including one Singaporean, and as well as other Gran Turismo 7 World Tour finalists. So we're going to log into Gran Turismo 7, try to see if we can get a fast enough time to get ourselves into the Olympics and to become an official Olympian. Let's see if we can do it. Due to this being an Olympic challenge, we actually had to train like an Olympian. Cue the montage. Alright, so after doing some intensive training, I felt like I was finally ready to tackle on the Olympic Esports Challenge to see if we can make it into the Olympics. So after reading the terms and agreements here, of course, clicking the accept and understand the rules, we were on our merry way. Now, this isn't our very first attempt at the Olympics, as we had one a couple years ago, as you can see already off to a great start with invalid track limits. Yeah, it was, I was up for the pressure here. As you can see, we had plenty of attempts to carry out, a couple of retries there, one that we didn't even make it to the start finish line, and felt a little bit rusty from the last attempt at the Olympics back in 2021. So kind of had to go over the basics here, look over to see what the fastest guy was doing and see where I am going wrong to try to make up as much time as I can on this time trial. So as we come out of turn number 1, you can see that he is very, very quick. But one thing I noticed is that he was doing a very interesting gear change when he got back onto the acceleration. And that was to basically shift up from first gear all the way up into third gear very, very quickly, then getting onto the throttle. And that was basically allowing him to get onto the power a lot earlier and a lot more smoothly than if you were to try to go from first gear, power, second gear, and then onto third at a slower rate. So that's one thing I had to learn how to do with this car, was to quickly upshift to maintain traction in the rear. And so after I did enough looking at the replay here, I felt like I was ready to tackle on this challenge, and hopefully we can put in a fantastic lap. So as you can see here, making our way into turn number 1, we are following the Ghost, the fastest guy that put in a time here for the Olympics. And you can see it right off the bat, off of turn number 1, just was gapping me. No surprise there, as we were just very, very bad off of the very first corner. And so you can see here, running down to the tunnel onto the final corner, just didn't have the pace, since he was about a full second ahead of us. More like, actually like a second and a half. But yeah, a lot of mistakes throughout the lap, but at this point we were just trying to get our bearings down. So you could see on the left hand side, there was not much time left, less than an hour left, and trying to make it to the Olympics. Things were starting to get a little bit hasty here, as we were starting to basically forge our pace here. So we get a 116.8, put in another lap, 116.2, so close to our record that we put in on our very first day of tryouts. And as we now cut it close here, as there's only 38 minutes left for registration to end, we were putting in some really decent lap times here, 16s. We want to get at least into the 15s. We want to get gold, but the main goal was to try to hit a 14.9. So we definitely had a lot of work cut out for us. We had to shave off about a whole second and 3/10, which is 38 minutes left before the trials were over. So as we make our way now onto the straight here, you can see that this one we were doing all right, but this wasn't going up to pace, as we hit a 115.9. So finally hitting our 15, still a full second slow compared to the slowest guy that made it into the Olympics so far. And so we still had a lot of work cut out for us, as we are now down to our final 30 minutes. So down to our final 30 minutes here, you can see that we just weren't really making any progress. We haven't even reached our fastest lap, and you can see the frustration that was accruing on my face here, as these were some of the attempts that I had. Just could not get it down, and just was getting a bit frustrated with doing all these attempts. Even decided to, take a little break here, just reevaluate my life. But after so many attempts, I decided to go back to the drawing board, look at the replay, and see where I can gain time now that I have a little bit of practice in me, see where I am making mistakes and what he's doing differently from me. So taking a 5-minute break, I decided to take my pre-workout, put in some notes here, try to rethink my strategy, probably put in some new notes here, put in some formulas, doing some maths here, you know, the quick maths. And finally, all right, we're ready. So there we go, guys. After 5 minutes of just getting away from the chair and focusing on what I can do to improve on my next 25 minutes, we decided to get back onto it, and immediately you can see that we were doing a lot better as we were staying right in the ghost coming off of turn number 1. So probably one of the best turn 1 exits I've had this entire time trial. We finally get our fastest first 2 sectors, hitting a 48 flat. As we make our way into the final corner, this could be quite potentially a 15.5, 15.4, maybe even quicker. But as we get onto the power,
all around me are familiar faces, worn out.
we basically lose it, and I had to retry again. So 17 minutes left in the tryouts here for the Olympics. Things are starting to get very hasty here as I'm starting to get a bit desperate, trying to basically put in a 15.5 at least before we start thinking about going in anywhere near a 14. But as we make our way out of turn number 1, this was actually a really decent exit, and we were keeping up with the ghost here. So things looking fine so far. We make our way through the second sector, coming out of the tunnel section, going down over to the bridge, getting back onto the 4th gear. Everything was looking pretty promising here. We were pretty close to the ghost, and I was feeling very confident, especially after that lap prior. We were basically as close as we were to the ghost, putting in the fastest first 2 sectors. So I had a lot of confidence in me. And there we go, 48.1, not the fastest, but still doable. As we make our way into the final corner, as long as we didn't make a mistake here coming out of the corner, I think this was going to be a new record, and we might be able to just progressively just keep getting better and better with these last 16 minutes to try to hit that 14.9. But as we make our way down to the final straight, make our way to the start finish line, we hit a 1:15.679, probably the fastest lap that I've done so far on the game, and everything was looking promising here. But with just 10 minutes left, or a little less than 10 minutes left, we were still trying to hunt for that 14.9. And unfortunately, things were starting to get very desperate for me, as we were just making mistakes left and right. And as we came down now to our final 5 minutes, it was make or break time. We either had it in us to try to get into the 14.9s, or we didn't, and we were just going to have to call our Olympic career short. Not even making it to the Olympics, actually, now I think about it. But yeah, anyways, we continued on here with just less than 4 minutes now. Things were looking not too positive for me, as we just were not able to get onto the pace again. We had hit the fastest lap time of hitting that 15.6, but after that just could not get anywhere near that. And you can see that my times were just slowing down ever so much, and I just was losing so much energy here as the day progressed on and the hour progressed on. So down to the final minute here, this was basically our last final attempt, and we hit a 48.3, not fast, not slow, just kind of average there for our time. And just throwing in a Hail Mary for the final corner, miss our apex. And at this point I knew my Olympic dreams were over. As we make our way down for the final time, down the straight, we were going to get ourselves what I believe was going to be a 116 something, maybe even worse. Let's see, 115, 116.5, and that was going to be my very last attempt here for the 2023 Esports Olympics. And as the clock wound down to the final 5 seconds, there it was. It was finally over. The Olympic dreams were done for me. Now, as we make our way into the final part of the second sector, I decided just to quit here and call it a day. So that was basically it, guys. We were able to finish 9th on our friends list. Actually finished right ahead of Super GT, so I was a bit happy about that. And after looking at the global ranking, we actually reached 507th. And you can see that the very first driver that was able to get the fastest lap time was G Mangano with a 114.7, the Italian. And you can see everybody else following right behind there. Again, 507th in the world. Not too shabby, especially because I believe there was over 100,000 participants in this challenge here. And as we look at the top 10 qualifiers, these were going to be the 10 that were going to be going to the Olympics here in Singapore, including the Singaporean driver. And there we go. Italy, France, Brazil, Netherlands, United Kingdom, Spain, Japan, Chile, Hungary, and a Lebanese driver. So there you have it, guys. A final chapter to my Olympic dreams. And unfortunately, we just did not have enough to make it into the Olympics. After grinding for 4 hours, I just gained so much respect to everybody who basically made it into the Olympics, was just putting in hours day in and day out, trying to make it into the top 10. And honestly, I just have to say a huge shout out to everybody that made it into the Olympics, but not only them, but the people that were so close to making it, that missed out by half a tenth, 1/10, even 2/10, because you guys. But anyways, I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who made it to the Olympics, and hope you guys have a great time in Singapore. And for everybody else, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. Anyways, hope you guys have a great day, and until the next one, peace.